Hey everyone, Sean Wataza here, back with another video, and in today's tutorial video we're actually going to be covering Web3 onboarding. We're going to talk about the UI and the user experience on what onboarding looks like in Web3. We'll go through some different tiers and styles of onboarding users and why some people might feel that onboarding onto Web3 applications actually sucks. We'll also cover some of the recent tools and technologies that have came out over the past year and how they're making onboarding users into Web3 applications a lot easier and a lot smoother. So an overview of what we're going to be covering in this video, we'll first take a look at some of the ways that we can onboard users onto Web3. This includes your traditional way of connecting your wallet. Then we'll go through what in-app wallets are, and then we'll cover things like account abstraction. After we go through the demos and see how these different flows work, we'll actually jump into using thirdweb's Connect SDK, and we'll show you how to build out each of these different levels of an onboarding experience for your users. That way, no matter what type of Web3 application you're building, you can build the right type of onboarding specifically to the users that you are trying to reach. So with all of that being said, let's jump on the computer here and let's take a look at our demo. All right, so this is my demo application here, and you can see at the top we have a drop-down selector where I can select the different type of login flows I want to demonstrate. So the first one here, we have traditional, we have in-app, which is going to be something we allow our users to sign in and create a wallet for them using a social login or email. And then we have account abstraction, which we're going to add a layer of account abstraction onto the in-app login. And we're going to enable features like gasless transactions and so forth. So the first thing we're going to do is go through the traditional login flow. This is what most Web3 users or people who are familiar with this technology go through when connecting to a Web3 application. So normally you'll see a connect button of some sort. When you click on it, you are brought up with different wallet options that you can connect with. Now, we are currently using the Connect button in thirdweb's Connect SDK. By default, you get the Metamask, Coinbase, and Wallet Connect buttons shown here, but we also allow access to connect to pretty much any wallet, over 350 different wallets. And in here, you can search all your wallets that you want to use. So whatever wallet you're looking for, you can just type it in and search for it in there. And again, we support over 350 wallets, and all of them are right in here. You can customize it so that those wallets appear as the default wallets here if you want, but you have the option to always search those wallets. So ideally, again, the traditional flow is you hit a connect button, you select the type of wallet you want to connect with. So what we'll do here is just select a Metamask wallet to connect. And you can see right here, I am connected now with my Metamask wallet, and I now have the ability to claim an NFT. So again, this is your traditional way you would normally connect your wallet. And let's just say we wanted to then claim an NFT. We're brought up with a pop-up from our MetaMask that shows us things like the gas that we're going to have to pay, the total amount that we're going to have to spend in order to claim that NFT, and so forth. And once we hit confirm, then our transaction goes through and we can claim the NFT. There we go. So again, that's your traditional way of doing this. But what are the difficulties and why is this such a... And who isn't familiar with this Web3 technology, blockchain technology, with wallets and all of this? One, they have to be able to create their own MetaMask wallet or some sort of Web3 wallet, which includes creating the wallet, storing something like a seed phrase, figuring out how to use that wallet. That's the first part. The second part, after create, then fund the wallet. They have to find out where to get cryptocurrency from on whatever chain they're on, how to get that cryptocurrency into the wallet that they're using with your Web3 application. And that whole process just to create and fund your wallet becomes very steep to most users if you aren't familiar with this type of stuff. Then on top of that, you have to, when you hit or need to claim an token or something, you're then brought up with a pop-up that you might not be familiar with and might have a bunch of things on top of it that you might stand. So this traditional way of us using Web3 applications and onboarding users, while it makes sense to most of us who are familiar with all of this, it can be very intimidating and daunting to users who have never seen this stuff before in their life. So help simplify this onboarding process. Those solutions is something that we call here at thirdweb in-app wallets. And you might have seen many variations of this where if we go to the in-app login, you're now able to sign in with something like a social login or email. So if we hit sign in here, I can sign in with Google, Apple, Facebook. I can put in an email here. I'll get a one-time, what I can actually do is sign in with Google, select my Google account that I want to for me. So many Web3 applications nowadays, you might see something like an in-app wallet, allowing you to easily create a wallet with an email or social login. You no longer need to go out, find a Web3 wallet, create it, remember a seed phrase. Everything is created for you once you sign into the application. So you see here, this is the wallet that was generated for me. This is my email that I used to create the wallet. But again, that's the creating a wallet section. The missing is the funding the wallet. In order to interact with the blockchain, the wallet needs some sort of funds to execute transactions. And a lot of times we can generate the wallet, we can get rid of that step, but you still need to fund the wallet. So right now I have 0 ETH in this. I'm not going to be able to claim an NFT and I'm going to get an error because this NFT here execute the actual transaction. Go out, find a swap or a bridge to get the funds into the right network onto the wallet that they just created. They need to copy this address, transfer it over. And again, there's still this hump of difficulty that a user still needs to go through in order to onboard into your application. Now we're going to go over one more login, but we did introduce something new to our Connect button here at thirdweb, and that's the buy with crypto feature. So now what you can allow you to actually swap, bridge, and purchase the currency that you're using directly with. So when you open up the Connect modal here, you'll see a new buy button. And when you click on that, you'll be able to purchase the funds that you need on the network that you need it for directly within your application. No longer do you need to send your users out to another app or bridge to get the funds that they need. They can select here the network that they need it for. So let's just say base, and I need base ETH. Let's just say I need 0.05 base ETH. And right here, you can see I can pay with crypto and I can pay with credit card. This is coming soon. As I'm making this video, we should be releasing this soon. So right now, pay with crypto, any type of currency on any network that we support here for the current. So let's just say I had some Polygon Matic and I needed to swap that out for base ETH. So this is the amount of base ETH I was looking for. This is how much Matic it would cost me to do that swap. And I could swap this here and I would pay and send over 20.3 Matic, and in return I would get that swapped, bridged over and everything for 0.005 ETH on the base network. So swapping and bridging over funds, simple, all within your application, and you don't need to send out users. On top of that, you can also, this means you can select the amount of ETH on base that I need to purchase. I can put in a credit card information and I can purchase that ETH directly within my application without having to find an exchange or other type of fiat on-ramp. And again, I can put this all within my app and create this more seamless user experience where a user doesn't need to leave my application. To sign in with a social login or email. If they need funds, they can come in here, they can swap out funds or purchase some funds on their account using a credit card, and then they can start continuing. Now, it doesn't need to create their own wallet. They can just use a credit card to buy the currency or token that they need on whatever chain you're deployed on. But what if for gas, all of those things? That's where we have flow. So Account Abstraction, or ERC4337, generates a smart contract wallet for the user. Now, we use this in combination with our in-app wallet flow, where a user can now sign in with an email or social login. They'll be generated a smart contract wallet. And on top of that, we can utilize things like paymasters to enable gasless transactions, and we can create the logic and code our smart contract wallets to work in certain ways that we want them to within our application. Now, we're not going to get too in depth on what account here. If you do want to learn more, we do have an account abstraction course that we released. We'll link that down in the description below if you want a little bit more how account abstraction works and how you can implement it into. If you want to learn a little bit more about how account abstraction, we can sign in with an email like we did with the in-app wallet flow. A wallet, so you can see here that this wallet address is different than the in-app wallet address that we just signed in with, even though we use the same email, but this is connected to a smart wallet here. But we do have what we call a gasless transactions enabled, which means that there is a paymaster and we are going to be handling and taking care of the gas for our users. This means that a user can sign in and start using our application without even having to get funds into their account. So I can come here, I can claim an NFT, right? With in-app wallets as well, the pop-up modal of the transaction, we can confirm the transaction and execute it and send the NFT directly to the smart wallet. So there you go, NFT claimed. And within this whole login flow and interaction flow with account abstraction and in-app wallets, I'm able to sign in with a Google account or social login, and then I can directly claim an NFT without having to fund the wallet. So ideally, this user flow doesn't of Web3 normally used to in the traditional flow. I sign in with an email, I can hit a button and claim an NFT. So you can see that a login flow, and depending on the user of your application, you may need to create a flow that is suitable for them. So now we're going to jump in and we're going to build flows, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to build these Web's Connect SDK. A new Next project. Now I'm going to be using Next and TypeScript within this tutorial. So I'm going to run npx create Next app. We're going to call this guy here login flow. And for this, node to the ESLint, node to Tailwind here. We're going to use source directory and app router in this demo. And I'm going to say no to customizing the default import alias. Login flow here. And I'm going to then install thirdweb. Now we can take a look at our documentation here. And in our thirdweb below as well, under the type, you can see installation here. All we need to do is install our one new thirdweb package here, which is called thirdweb. You can use npm, yarn, pnpm, or bun. So I'm just going to come here. I'm going to use yarn, and then thirdweb. This will add a thirdweb here and its dependencies. And this will add to our project here. Up thirdweb with our project here. So in my source folder, in the app folder here, I'm going to create a new file and call this client.ts. And in this client.ts file, if we look at our docs here, set up our thirdweb. Depending if you have client-side usage or server-side usage, you'll have to provide it with your client ID or secret key. We'll be doing our client ID here. So right here, we're going to create our client ID variable, which we are going to put this in an env file. So let's say .env.next public client ID. Then we'll check if the client ID is missing. And then we're going to export a variable here called client, and we are going to use the create client here, and we'll import thirdweb client from thirdweb, and here we provide the ID, which we will provide it the client ID variable that we have right over here. So this is going to set up our client, which we are going to use within our app. The next thing we need to do is set up the chain that we are going to be using here. So back in my file, I'm going to call this chain.ts. And in this chain.ts, we are going to export a variable here called our chain. And this is going to use something called define chain. So if we look at our docs here under chain, we need to tell the thirdweb SDK which chain it's going to be working with. So we can use define chain here, and we can provide it with the chain ID, or we can provide it with some predefined popular chains. So in here, I'm going to say define chain, and we are going to use a base Sepolia from thirdweb/chains, or do any other ones those are. If not, you can just pass the chain ID. If not, you can same way. Take a look back at our docs as well here. We look at React and overview. The first thing we need to do here to get started is set up our thirdweb provider. And our thirdweb provider is going to wrap our application here. Now, because we do have app router in a new file within the app folder, we're going to call this thirdweb.ts. And in here, we're going to specify and tag this with use client. And we are going to export thirdweb provider from thirdweb/react. And that way we can use the thirdweb provider, and it's tagged with the use client here. So when we come back to our files and go to the layout page, we're going to wrap the children here with the thirdweb provider. Now we want to make sure that we are importing this thirdweb provider from our thirdweb TS file. So we're going to go @/app/thirdweb. Now we have our application set. It's the provider. We have our client and chain set as well, which is going to be used when we implement our connect button into our application. So I'm just going to open up my terminal here really quick, and I'm going to run yarn dev just to look at what we have so far. So in my browser, I have our Next.js template here, and we're going to now build out our application, and we'll go through the different login flows. Now, the first login flow I'm going to go over is the traditional login flow. So this is, again, you hit a connect button, you can connect something like a Metamask or Coinbase wallet. So I'm going to come back to my code editor, and I'm going to my files here, and I'm going to go to the page.tsx file. Now, within this page.tsx file, I'm going to delete everything within this main tag here. So I'm going to grab all of this and just delete it out of here. Do this. Let's come back to our files here. Let's create a new folder called components. And in components here, I'm going to create a new file, and we're going to call this traditional login.tsx. So for this traditional login, we'll use client here. And I'm going to export a component. We'll call this, again, traditional login. And we're going to say returns. And all we need to do to get a login button here is if we come back to our docs for thirdweb, we have UI components, and we have something called a connect button. And this connect button here gives us that connect button that we saw in the demo earlier on in this video. And if you want, we allow complete customization of this connect button as well. You can go to the connect playground. You can change the colors, the fonts, all of that you can do within here. All we need to do is add this connect button and provide it with the client and wallets that we want to connect here. So by default, if we just come in here and just add a connect button, we provide a client, which we have from our client.ts file. We're also going to provide it with a chain, which is going to be our chain from our chain.ts file. And those are the two. And the client is really the only required one here that we need to provide it. Chain will allow us to specify the chain that it should connect to. That way, if our user is connected to a different chain, it'll ask them to switch networks to the chain that is selected. And by default, so if we come back to here and we add in our traditional login here. Let's come back to our demo here. Let's come to our thirdweb dashboard here. And I'm going to grab my client ID here. I'm going to come over to my files. We're going to create a new .env file here. And I'm going to grab our next public client ID. That's what we called it. And paste in our client ID here. So now we come back to our app. Refresh this. There we go. We have a within our application. When I click on that, you can see here, this is the default app. This is logins, Metamask, Coinbase, Rainbow, and then the drop down for all the different wallets. Again, over 350 different wallets you can connect to. What if you want to customize the wallets in here? You can come to your, let's come back to the traditional login. Let's create a variable here called wallets and give it an array of wallets that we want to show. So in here, we can use create wallet, and use create wallet. We can then search all here and choose which wallet we want to then create. In this case, let's just say we just want a Metamask wallet. And let's say we also want a, so the Coinbase is com.coinbase.wallet. Then I can then provide the wallets, array of wallets here to the connect button. So wallets, I can say wallets here. And if I come back and hit connect, now it will only show the wallets that I specified within that array of wallets. So you can choose and customize what wallets you want to display here. But again, a user can then search any wallet down here and connect their wallet if they want to. But you can make it really quick and easy if you only want to show certain wallets up here. And that's how easy it is to a Web3 application using thirdweb. Again, there's a bunch more customizations and things you can do with the connect button, and we'll have videos on that. And we'll have this button and how to customize the wallets and everything we provide to it. So a Metamask wallet, and there you go. I now am connected here. So the next flow, we're going to go provide just a login where a user can sign in with a social login or email, and a wallet is then generated for them. So coming back to my code editor, I'm going to go to a file. We're going to call this in-app login.tsx, and we're going to create a login flow here. So in here, we're going to export our login flow. We're going to then return a connect button again. We're going to provide our client from our client.ts file, set the chain to our chain from our chain.ts file. We'll make sure we specify here. And now, so just like how we did add, and just like how we added the custom wallet, we can specify the wallets that we want to show here. So let's just say we want to, we'll say wallets again. This time, all we're going to do is get our app wallet. And here, and that's there is, we'll come back to pages. We will add in our in-app login. Save that, come back. And there you go. We have this button here, allowing a user to sign in with a social login or email. Now maybe we don't want this button to say connect wallet, showing a wallet to connect. This is more of a login flow for a user. So if we come back here into our in-app login, we can change the connect button. And we can change the label of it here, and we can provide it anything we want to say. So maybe we want it to just say login. There you go. It changes the text to login. So now when a user hits with the social logins or email, I can hit the Google here for me. And that's how easy it is to implement application using thirdweb. Again, all we need to do is specify that we want in-app wallets, and we can even customize the button, like the button label and everything, to something like a login, and make, again, that UI and user experience for the user. And lastly, let's go over in the beginning of this video, and that was account abstraction in combination with the in-app wallet login. So I'm going to come back to my components here. I'm going to add a new file, and we'll just call this AA login for account abstraction.tsx. And in here, we're going to do something similar to how we did our in-app wallet. So we're going to export, this is going to be our AA login. And we turn here a connect button. We'll provide it with our client. And our chain, let's import chain here. And the same thing for this, we want users to log in with a social login or email. So we'll provide the email here. So in our, we'll say our wallets. But now we can set up account abstraction within our wallet. Now, how can we set up account abstraction? So let's create a variable here called account abstraction, and we're going to provide the abstraction with a few things. One, the chain that the account abstraction should be on, which is going to be our chain. We also have to provide it with a factory address. Now, this factory address is the factory address contract that generates the smart contract wallets for our user. So if we come back here to thirdweb's dashboard and we go to contracts, account factory contract, just deploy it to the chain that you want to deploy it to, and you can get your contract address. Now I already have one, so I'm just going to paste it right in here. And finally, we can enable something like gasless. And gasless will allow us to handle the gas for the user. We'll pay for everything utilizing an account abstract. and that means that the user. Now, once we have those set up, abstraction here, provide it with our account abstraction details that we created. And with that, and actually let's change our label here as well. So say label and we'll say AA login for account abstraction. So come back here. Let's disconnect this wallet here. Oh, let's add that account abstraction to our pages here. So add AA login here. Client here. There we go. We have our three buttons, our traditional with the Web3 wallets that we selected, our in-app login flow, which allows us to sign in with a social login or email, and then we have our account abstraction login flow, which we can sign in with the same thing, like a smart wallet or a smart contract wallet will be generated for us. And there you have it. And again, just like gas is true, this means that a user doesn't need to fund the smart wallet in order to execute transactions on chain. Implement really quickly into your Web3 applications utilizing thirdweb's Connect SDK. So again, we have the regular connect flow, which is for your users who are familiar with Web3 and they want to just connect their Web3 wallets like Metamask or Coinbase. Or again, we support over 350 wallets. You can connect any one of those. Or maybe you want a user, you can use in-app wallets, which creates a wallet allowing a user to just simply log in with a social login or email. Want to interact with if they want to interact with the blockchain, they still need some funds, or we need to supplement the funds for them in some way so they can execute transactions on chain. Now we also have the feature of the ban swap or purchase crypto using purchase the token that they need using a credit card. Do all of that without having to leave your application and be done all within this connect modal here. And then finally, we have the account abstraction login, which account abstraction or ERC4337 in combination with in-app. So we can still log in with an email or social login. Utilize a paymaster to sponsor the gas for our users. This means that once they sign in with a social login or email, they can start interacting with the block and using our Web3 application as being supplemented by us. So there you have it. We can onboard users to use Web3 applications. Now, depending on who you're trying to onboard to your application, you may create a certain flow for them. But with the power of thirdweb and our new Connect, you can build the flow that's right for your user. Traditional Web3 users, or it's someone who has no idea what this is and you want to back away all the Web3 UI and user experiences from the application and provide them something similar to what they know in the middle. And you want to, or maybe you create a wallet, like an in-app wallet, but they can still fund their wallet So again, I hope you folks enjoyed this video. I hope this was a great processes into Web3 applications and how we have involved and built new features and tools to simplify this process. If you did enjoy this video, turn on the notification and don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on this. If you need any help or support, we'll drop a link down into this contact and open a ticket with our support team and they can help answer any of your questions. But again, I hope you folks enjoyed this video. I hope this helped Web3 onboarding that you can implement. But until next time, see ya.